All right, so first thing that's up on your test on triangle inequalities, it's going to be the ones where I give you two sides and it's going to ask you to find the range. Find the range of possible values. Actually, hold on. Oh, yeah. For third side. So it's going to give you two sides like 12 and 8, and you're supposed to come up with the range. Anybody remember how to do that? I'll give you a hint. These are the ones that looks like this, and you got two numbers. Evan? Oh, I thought you had your hand up. Oh, all right. Oh, okay. Yes, 12 plus 8 gets me the number over here.
And 12 minus 8.
Yes, that's all we're doing. Super easy. You just have to know that that's what you do. So again, you're going to subtract to get the small number there, and then you're going to add to get the bigger number here. That's it. So these are super easy if you know that that's what you're doing, okay? Do one more. What if I gave you 3 and 3? What's your range?
0 to 6.
That's it. 0 to 6. It's literally that easy. Okay. Then we stepped it up a little bit by asking you, all right, so how about this? Sort of in this same spirit, we asked, can you make a triangle with side lengths? And then we just made them up. How about 7, 10, and 11? Anybody remember how to do this? They gave me all three. How do I know if this can make a triangle or not? I don't care about what kind of a triangle right now. I just want to know how I tell. Yeah.
So you take away one number.
Yes. This was the one where we ignored just one for a minute. Do what you just did. Find the range of values, right? I have 7 and 10. So that means my number could be as low as 3, but it's got to be less than 17, right? Because I'm subtracting and I'm adding. And then you take back the number that you ignored for a minute. So it's 11. And you just ask yourself, does 11 fit in here? Oh, shoot. Does 11 fit in this range?
Yes.
This does. Yeah, absolutely. 11 is certainly between 3 and 17. So this would be a yes. The only time this gets tricky is when you have numbers that are like this. If I gave you 2, 6, and 4, let's say. So again, ignore one number, find your range. In this case, the range would be, if I subtract, I'm going to get a 4. If I add, I'm going to get an 8. So I need a number that's between 4 and 8. Is 4 between 4 and 8? No. It cannot equal one of those numbers. It has to be greater than 4 or less than 8. It can't be on the dot the same. Okay. So that's the next bunch. And then we get into this section where I ask you, okay, do the 3 sides make an acute, right, or obtuse triangle? In order to do this, you have to know those inequalities. So I made a big deal about them. I said, make sure you write them down. I'm not going to give them to you on the test. So make sure that you have them written somewhere or you know how to access them. So for an acute, you're looking for this scenario, a squared plus b squared to be greater than c squared. That's acute. Right, obviously, that's going to be when they're equal. And then obtuse is this scenario. You want a squared plus b squared to be less than c squared. So again, you don't have to memorize that, but you have to have it. So if you need to take a picture of it now or whatever, I don't care, but you need it on Monday. And don't write it on your desk, because what happens if you have to go to the cafeteria on Monday? I don't know. I don't know if Mr. Orlick is here on Monday. I imagine you would stay here. But if he's not, then you would go wherever they tell you to go. So have it somewhere. All right, now how do we actually use this? I'll give you 3 sides, like how about 6, 8, and 11. You need to put in the biggest number for C, of course. So which one is that? You got it. So that's got to go in for C. So I'll just do A and B like that. All right, so let's see here. 6 squared plus 8 squared. How does that match up to 11 squared? 36, 64, 121. So 36 and 64 happens to be 100. And remember, the mouth of the inequality is going to eat the bigger number. Obviously, 121 is bigger. So to get my answer, though, please make sure you're paying attention, because this is the crucial part. You're going to match up this inequality symbol with, oh, here it is. Here's the matching one, this inequality symbol, which means this thing is obtuse. And there you have it. That's all there is to it. Let me give you one more. You try it. What if your 3 sides were as follows? How about trying to pick a good one, but whatever. How about 7? How about 7, 8, 9?
It's,
Oh, I have a vote for acute. Kids at home, feel free to tell me in the chat what you think it is. Anybody else in class have a vote? What are we thinking? Yep. Obtuse? I actually don't know what this is, so we'll find out together. I've got 1 vote acute, 1 vote obtuse. All right, let's try it. So again, I just happen to give them to you in order again. So just make sure that you're putting 9 in for C. You have to. So I'm going to check 7 squared plus 8 squared. How does it stack up against 9 squared? I have no idea. Let's find out. 49, 64, 8 squared, I'm sorry, 9 squared is 81. What's 49 and 64 is 113? Is that right? Double check me, so I don't trust myself.
yeah, 113.
All right, cool. So 113 compared to 81, 113 is going to be bigger, right? So let's go ahead and match up that inequality symbol.
Oh, I did wrong. Okay, I just wrote it.
Yeah, so looks like we're gonna go with acute.
Yeah, it wasn't as fun.
That'll do it. And I have one more I want to ask you, but it might be a quick one. I don't know. Let's see. If I can delete that. Yes. Okay, one more. Try this one. What if I gave you 15, 12, and 9?
I don't answer.
What is it?
Right.
Oh, it is. This is one of those ones, if you happen to notice it, it's a 3, 4, 5. Did you notice? 3, 4, 5. Yeah. They're all just multiplied by 3. Right? So this one's 3 times 3. This one's 4 times 3. This one's 5 times 3. So if I recognize that I have a 3, 4, 5, just or any of its multiples, it's automatically a right triangle. But rest assured, if you don't notice, that's fine. If you do out the math, you're going to see that a squared plus b squared really does equal c squared anyway. Just make sure you put in 15 for c. Don't fall into that trap of just always putting the last number in for c. It's got to be the biggest number. Okay, so there was that section. Then the next thing was the listing the sides and the angles from least to greatest. So we'll start off with the sides first. So I gave you a triangle. I gave you some of the angles. Let's say you're a 60. Let's say you're a 40. I asked you to do things like list the sides from least to greatest. How do we even start? What has to be step number 1 before you do anything? What must you do first? Tell me, please. You got to figure out what angle B is, right? And what is it? Yeah, 80, right? Because the 3 angles inside of a triangle always add up to be 180. All right, perfect. Now I've got this. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you need to order the sides. The sides, people, sides. So that's like these are the sides of the triangle. That's a side, this is a side, this is a side. So you're not going to say to me, angle C, because that's an angle, not a side. You need to name a side. Now, angle C is important because it's my smallest angle. We had learned that the smallest side will always be across from that smallest angle. So who can tell me the smallest side in this picture?
Maybe.
Yes, side AB, which remember, they could either name it as AB or BA. So when you are taking your test, you're going to look for either one of those two to be in the first slot. Then we're going to get our second slot. So we already took care of 40. Okay, you're done. So now tell me the side that's across from 60.
CA and BC.
BC, right. So again, they're going to name that either BC or CB. We don't know because that's up to them. So you're going to look for one of those two in the second slot. And then obviously in the biggest slot, it has to be,
AC.
yes, AC, which they could also name CA, whichever. Okay, that's how you do this. Obviously, you're not going to have both of these. You're just looking, you know what I mean, right? But they can name it AB or BA. It doesn't matter. It's the same thing. All right, cool. Does this get trickier? Yes, it can a little bit. You might see something like this. What if I did this to you? So first we're going to find angle C. And angle C is just gonna be, well, let's see, 70 and 40 is 110. Yeah, it's another 70. I can still find the shortest side pretty easily. Who's that gotta be?
40.
So the side that would be
Oh,
shortest
sorry,
is,
it's BC.
yes. So the side across from the smallest angle, so BC or CB, right, whatever. They named it that way. So that has to be my first slot. But now you run into this sort of conundrum because you have a tie for second place. You have two 70s. So remember how you have to word this. You're going to say AC and AB because they're tied. So again, since it's multiple choice, they might have said AB first. Who cares? It doesn't matter because you're just listing the tie. If I said, you know, Susie and Bobby tied for first place, it doesn't matter if I say Susie and Bobby or Bobby and Susie. Who cares? The tie. So that's how that's going to work. Okay. And then the only other way that this changes is when we do this. Eventually, we sort of flip the script on you and we say, okay, you know what? Now, instead of listing the sides from least to greatest, now we're going to focus on the angles.
Also, I finished that.
Oh, good.
I was trying to figure out how to do it.
So angles from least to greatest. So this is where I'm going to give you the side length. So maybe I'll tell you that this is 8, this is 3, and this is 10. Who cares? So I'm going to give you all 3 sides. This is when you are going, you're still going to start with the smallest number that you see and just look for the thing that's across from it. I'm comparing angles now though. So the smallest side is obviously 3, but what's the angle that's across from it, Marissa?
C.
Thank you. Angle C is the smallest, followed by who?
B.
Yes,
And then A.
and then A. And this is nice because there's only one way to name these angles, so we don't have to worry about, oh, is it BC or CB? They're a lot easier. Okay, does this get trickier? The only way it can get a tiny bit trickier is if I do the same thing with like 2 sides of the same. So let's say both of these sides are 8. Oh, Jesus. There we go. All right, so if I have 2 sides that are 8, I'm still gonna have the smallest angle as angle C, but then just like we had to before, if there's a tie, I'm gonna have to say and. So it looks like angle B and angle A would be tied for biggest. Okay, moving right along. We're almost done. Yeah, and then the last thing is the exterior angles that we just talked about. So just to make our video complete, if you have an exterior angle such as this one, and I tell you that this is 15 degrees and this is 20 degrees, what is the measure of that exterior angle? Marissa, go ahead.
35.
It's just 35. When you have an exterior angle, it's simply equal to the sum of these 2 interior angles that are not right next to the angle you're talking about. That's it. That's your shortcut, 35. And you're done. Does it get harder than that? The only way is if I do this, if I make you do subtraction instead. So let me do one problem like that, and then we'll be good to go. If I tell you that the exterior angle is, I don't know, 70 degrees, and this is 40 degrees, and now I ask you to find the measure of that angle. It's gotta be,
It's
you want this one
oh,
up here.
sorry,
That's okay.
30.
Yes, 30. This time, they gave me the exterior angle, so I just do 70 minus 40 to get that other remote interior. That's it, guys. That's your entire test. Easy peasy? I hope so. All right, I'm gonna stop this recording. That'll